There's levels to the shit.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. How's everybody doing today? Back again with another installment, guys. As always, sorry, running a bit late. Just sorting out some stuff. Anyways, today we have somebody that Levels has been working with for a little bit now, actually. It's nice to get her on board. She's looking a little fuzzy again. Oh, there she goes. A bit better now. There you go, Amelia. We have Miss Amelia Poole, representing the Trap Jewellery with us this evening. As always, we got man like DJ Mason in the house. It's been a long week, innit, bro? Already. It's only Monday. It's early Monday. All right, cool. Let's get straight into this. So, who is setting the levels tonight? Please introduce yourself, Miss Trap Jewellery.
Hey. So I'm Amelia, CEO of Trap. The Jewellery Trap, we actually changed the name from Trap Jewellery to the Jewellery Trap quite recently. We connected, probably like 2 years ago? Over
Oh, yeah, it's not late 2019. Yeah,
and then we've just been chatting about some stuff. The business obviously has developed massively since then. Gone into it, come out of it, partnered up.
Yeah.
Dropped out, everything's gone on. So, but yeah, we're in a good place.
Good stuff. Oops, hold on 1 second. Did she just drop out?
I think you might have just pushed her out.
Me?
Yeah.
No. She
She
just dropped out, unfortunately. It's going to be another week of connection issues. Well, is what it is. I think my connection's a bit off as well. Same way, as you guys heard, Levels and Amelia have been like working together ish since as late 2019s when we first made contact. She just caught our eye because her jewelry was just so youthful. Designs were great. Great personalization and everything, and we just was like, all right, cool, let's try and work with her because I mean, you guys see us just talking generally, but realistically, the whole MO of Levels is to bring out and highlight up and coming brands such as the Jewellery Trap, because there's so many of them around us. There's so many of them that they deserve a shine. And as we are growing, we're building our website, which is going to be hugely, is going to be interactive, hopefully, so everybody can just do their thing because of the death of the high street. So we need to keep up with what's going on in terms of being digital, being tech savvy, etc. But yeah, that's what's going on. Once Amelia jumps back in, we'll get into her story nice quickly. Mace, what's going on with you, bro? How you been? How's your weekend?
It's a long weekend, mate. Like long weekend.
Yeah.
Long weekend.
With your boy?
Yeah, I don't think I've had a day off this week, so I'm just apologies if I'm a little bit like. But
yeah, he ain't been smoking, guys. He's just a bit laggy.
I'm just extremely exhausted.
Yeah, that's understandable. But it's the life of a DJ, superstar DJ, and that.
I'll perk up. Welcome, Amelia, man. Like, very nice to have you here. Very nice to actually finally speak to you as well. Like I said before, like I'll perk up. I'm just a little bit tired. Like, I'm just trying to slowly rise myself up to the occasion.
Yeah, warming up.
I'm warming up. Like, I'm battered. It's been a long week that hasn't ended, and it won't end until Sunday evening. So,
I can't complain at the moment. I'm furloughed, so I'm filling my time with.
Yeah, you're furloughed.
Yeah.
Oh, how I wish. How I wish I was involved in the furlough business.
I can't complain, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's bad. But yeah, nice to have you, man. Like you were saying before, like just crack on and tell us like more about yourself and like what's going on with you.
So with the jewelry, Well, I got into the whole business side of things. I did marcoms and advertising at uni. And then I started an events company with one of my good friends at university, worked in the enterprise department, which like helped students start up businesses and stuff. So that got me more into like the idea of starting a business myself. So went down the events route, and then my friend that I did that with kind of found a different path and needed a bit more financial stability. So we kind of let that one go, and I carried it on my own for a bit. And then I helped my sister out actually, because she was doing her jewellery company at the time, Moontrap London, and I helped her with her events and like launch parties and stuff. So I kind of helped her in that sense. And then it was only actually like last year, just before lockdown, that we decided we were going to like do some more stuff together, help each other out a bit more. She needed some help with the business. And then we decided to split the brands up and like separate the fine with the like fashion jewellery. So that's where the Jewellery Trap came in with like the more costume jewellery. But then, yeah, just like I think both of us are very strong personalities, and we quite like our own, like having things our own way. So it ended up that it was much better that one of us took one of the brands, one of us took the other, and we kind of ran with them with our own vision and did it our own way to like stop disagreement.
Okay, cool. Are you back together now?
Business and family is probably wise.
Okay, yes. But are you guys back together now, or are you just?
No, well, like she's still doing the Moontrap London, like the high end vintage stuff. Also, our grandfather, like my step grandfather, was a diamond jeweler himself, and that's where she got her inspiration from. So she's still carrying on with that brand, but we've just taken the two brands separately to one handle one handle the other. But we're doing a lot of collaborations, and we help each other out. We work on a lot of stuff together, being in the same industry. So yeah, no, it's good. It's worked out for the best, definitely.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Oh, good. So my camera's jibbing again. I have no idea what's going on. Same way, go on.
So, oh man, sorry. So, where do you see sort of like the brand in sort of like a year's time? I know we're going through a bit of like a tough time with with COVID and all that kind of stuff going on. But where do you see the brand in a year's time? What's the plan? Where do you want to take it?
Well, I think it's quite hard to tell exactly at the moment where I'll be. It's all very new to me, and I've been trying out different things since I finished uni. But this thing and this brand in particular, I feel like I've only really been properly working on it like the last 6 months, where we then separated the brands, and I've been properly pushing it on my own. And I've like rebranded a bit. We've just recently changed the logo. So I feel like I'm now at a position where I'm ready to scale it up and expand and make it a lot bigger. I'm working on like an influencer program. I've got a few influencers that are quite big that I've been in touch with recently, and I'm sending them out some pieces. So I feel like I'm just at the level where I'm now ready to expand, and like I've redone my website with the rebrand, and everything's as I want it to be, but it's now focused on the marketing and just see how big we can scale it up.
You feel like it's because obviously you and your sister had, but maybe sort of like a clash of ideas, or?
Well, I think I'm a perfectionist, and I'm very stubborn, and I think she's quite similar. I can't speak as much for her, but I know I'm definitely like that. So when she had a different vision, if I didn't think that her vision was or that I had a better vision, there wouldn't be like a compromise. We'd just keep debating, and it wouldn't even be big arguments. It would just be us justifying why it should be our own way. And I think it slowed us down a bit. Like, it wasn't that we fell out, it was more that it slowed us down so much that we weren't making decisions because we had to go through such a long process to come to an agreement, that it just meant we couldn't fast forward quick enough. And I realised as soon as I was doing it on my own, I was just like, well, I don't really have that. I've lost that accountability partner to check in with all the time. But on the flip side, I've gained the fact that I don't need to talk to anyone else before coming to an agreement. So I can just push things forward and make decisions, whether they're risks or mistakes. I'll learn from them. And I think it's helped me to just get things going and figure out where I want to be, what I want the brand to look like. And yeah, I'm in a good place, I think. Just up now.
Oh man, hopefully that vision keeps popping on, man. Like you sound like you've got like a proper strong vision for what you want it to be and where you want it to go.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Have you got any sort of like people that you've got in mind that you'd like to work with or anything like that?
So this kind of takes us back to how I actually met Kofi, and we started talking, and he was telling me about this platform that he wanted to use to blend like artists in the music industry with the fashion industry and brands that it's to up and help both parties. And so I think with that and reaching out and coming to the live event back in
July.
That was, it felt like so long ago since I've ever done music.
Since you were next to people.
Literally. Yeah, since coming to that and like giving lots of those guys jewellery, they've shared lots of content and everything, and have really helped me with that side of things. And I think I've kind of developed this music orientated vibe around the brand. And I'm not 100% that that's like something I'm really going to push for and stay that like narrowly focused on. But I do like the idea of having that relationship with music, and a lot of young artists or even big artists, hopefully in the future, we're using in our promo. And there's kind of that link there with music and jewellery. So some of the big artists really, but on the flip side, I've realised I need to start reaching out to people that do this more as a profession, that are known as influencers and they've got lots of following, and it's not so much about the music but more about me trying to make sales and the actual marketing. But I do like the connection with music and the fact that I've been using artists and stuff, so I think that'll be a trend that I keep going, definitely.
Do you have any sort of brands out there that you currently sort of like admire and you probably think that maybe, you know, you can maybe be on that sort of like platform at some point with your brand?
So I think there's actually a big gap in the market for jewellery, and particularly how I'm doing it at the moment, like the costume jewellery. I don't feel like there's any massive platform like that is offering platform jewellery on such a costume jewellery on a platform on such a big scale. Say like ASOS or Pretty Little Thing or any of these fast fashion brands, which I know we're moving away from, and I'll get into that with like the designs I want to create and everything, and bringing a lot more like creatives into the business, and trying to get some people like supporting small freelancers and creative people that want to design jewellery. But also there isn't that platform for just the one-stop shop for jewellery. I think there's lots of little brands that are doing well, but they're all doing a very niche thing. So I think I'd quite like to differentiate maybe a different range of like luxury jewellery, which could maybe be like a sub-brand or even the Jewellery Trap Luxe or something. But focusing on the costume, I think companies like ASOS and Pretty Little Thing that are doing it so well on such a big scale is goals.
Dope. So onto the music side of things as well. What sort of music are you sort of like into? Like, what's your vibe? Like, what do you usually go for?
Honestly, like I can dip into a bit of everything. Like I know a lot of people say that, but like at the moment, like grime, R&B. But I used to live in Guildford and work at a bar that does mostly house nights. So I really got into the house scene. But I think that was when I was partying a lot more. So I've chilled out a little bit. Might rather put on a bit of classical or some reggae or something rather than the kid lockdown at the moment. It's a different vibe. So
yeah,
like honestly, like anything at the time. Garage, like if it's the right night and I'm with the right people, I can get involved. I can enjoy anything.
Did you find that through like the lockdown, the music choices changed a little bit? I kind of felt that mine changed a bit because I was going ham, but I felt like I needed to switch off and do similar to you, a little bit of Bob Marley, you know, like along them lines, because I wanted to hear something different. Yeah. So I think through lockdown, mine's changed slightly. Has that been the same for you? Do you kind of want to listen to something a little bit more chilled or?
Yeah, definitely. And I think like whilst we're not partying and we're not going out and even being on our own, like listening to music on your own in your own room with no one else around you is very different to music being a social thing. and it being in the background over conversation and stuff, like you're properly listening to the music that you're listening to, whatever you're choosing. You're paying attention to it at the moment. So I think I'm getting a bit bored of some of the stuff that maybe back in the day that I used to party to that was very like mainstream. You're listening to it during lockdown. I'm like, what was I listening to?
Yeah. I think it's causing a lot of people to reevaluate, but that will be back at some point, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Once we're all back in the same sort of spaces, I think it's gonna come back. Like we're all gonna
100%. But I'm all for it. If I'm in a club dancing on tables.
Yes.
Antics.
Madness.
Yeah, it's not one for the bedroom, like house raves and that. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I get that.
What's it called? Sorry, my camera's just still jacking up. So I mean, we briefly touched on exactly like what led you to go down this route effectively, and then a little bit of the split with your sister. And it's a good thing that you guys are actually helping each other out, because it's a very competitive field still, even though as you said, the market that you're trying to tap into, it has a gap in it which you're trying to fill. Now, I mean, personally, for levels, I like to try and focus on the medium to slower fashion. But you touched on that you wanted to be on the scale of like ASOS and all of them things and Pretty Little Thing. Why do you want to be on that scale rather than make more like, say, bespoke pieces?
So I think that's where I was slightly torn, and that's why I quickly, after mentioning fast fashion, brought in very quickly about supporting younger creatives and people that are doing a lot more themselves, and things that aren't like such fast fashion or so mass produced, and things that are a bit more unique. I definitely think we're moving in that direction, and that's what people want. Like, people are shopping small, they're doing a lot more like support for small businesses and all of that. And I think for me, like I said, I've always like been interested in business, and if I'm honest, I didn't have that one passion. Like, jewelry wasn't my passion, and it very much was my sister's passion. And that's why I've gone from events and like tried some different things and helped my sister out, and then realized actually this model that I'm working on and this business is scalable and I can make money from it. So without trying to sound like this greedy business person, like, money is the reason. And I've been trying for like, when I was doing events, it's a service, so you're getting paid for your time. If you're going to go plan someone an event, it's hours and hours and hours and hours of work. And I quickly realized that a product is definitely what I'd rather than a service-based business. And then obviously helping my sister out and us splitting the brands and taking one for myself, I felt like I'd been given a really good opportunity to do what I wanted, which was start a business, but not struggle with the things that I struggled with a service-based business, and instead sell a product. And I've now got a lot more invested in it and a lot more into it myself, and I'm definitely like properly passionate about jewelry now, but I wasn't at the beginning. And now I'm finding that I am really enjoying it, and I'm finding it really interesting, and there's so much more to learn that I do just want to stick in this industry and scale it up.
No, wicked.
So much that I admire these big brands that are doing what they're doing. Like, it's purely the money, really, that I want to be successful. I'm very driven, and that's been my vision, is to be successful and make money. So if I can now do that with this, and then over time change it to something that I really believe in and something that's doing better for the community, the young people out there that are learning different skills and stuff, and the creatives that you can bring in, that's definitely something I want to focus on. But I think having a bit of money first helps you to be able to do all those kind of things.
I mean, don't feel bad for trying to make some money.
Make some money.
You know
Exactly.
I mean? Like,
Please, go out my head, grab them hundreds.
I was thinking there, thinking, whoa. Yo, say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Be careful of all these brands that are being slated.
Yeah, but listen, that's
just being honest.
It's just being honest. That's the aim at the end of the day. Like, at the end of the day, we're all here to try and make some money. I'd be lying if I said, like, me getting into DJing and stuff there isn't sort of like a part of it where I get paid. Yes, of course, it's a passion for me, but bro, I'm
Pay to
not.
play
Yeah,
music.
you know what I mean, if I've done a set, let me see them. You know what I mean? Let me see them. Let's
Let me
talk
see
about
them
this.
dollar
You know
signs.
what I mean? So it is what it is, man. Of course, you want to make money. You're building a brand. Like brand, you can't build a brand with no dough.
No.
True.
So
And I think that's the thing. Like I realised with being in the events industry, how hard it was to even make a bit of movement, and starting with such small clients and doing such basic events for such a long time before even seeing any growth, made me realise as soon as I started doing this, I was like, bro, there's room for growth here.
You
yeah,
know what's so mad? Me and Mason are both smiling, yeah, because he runs his events. Levels was a club event before it turned into what it was. Mason, I'm gonna let you go. Why are you smiling?
me.
Because she's just spitting bare facts.
Yeah, mate. Like, listen, it is what it is, isn't it? We're here to try and make some money. Like, and when you're if you're trying to build a brand and stuff, like there is that element to it as well. Like, it's you're an entrepreneur, so
Yep.
that's what comes with it. You
Yeah.
know, you can't just sit there and say, "Oh, it's not about the money." You're not crowdfunded.
No, at
I
all.
mean, like, you're not
So what I
crowdfunded.
found maddest was realistically, somebody reminded me I started Levels back in 2015 initially. 2015 is when I started Levels, and it was just a club night. And then from that club night, being in Camden again, I mean, I've always liked my fashion, but I was never like overtly like going to finding out all the flash sales and Fendi this and all the Jordans. I was never that person. But when I was in Camden, I saw the different fashion trends. I was like, this is kind of cool. And actually, you know what? Camden's got one of the best fashion senses, and it just literally just grew from there. Then I remember I just one day had the idea, and I just threw one randomly. And like you, it was almost like, oh, okay, cool. If you had a concept behind it, maybe it works. And then I threw a couple more, and then events is events. Events is hard. You have to when you promo it, you have to create this fear of missing out, bull crap. You have to do all of this nonsense, not
You gotta
nonsense,
be there.
huh?
And you gotta be there.
And you got to be there with no help. And it's just well for me anyway. It was no literally it was just me by myself. So it was super hard. And then all of a sudden, I was like, let me just create this thing. Next thing you know, like you, it's like although I wasn't making money, I could actually see the ripples in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like I could actually see the moves happening, and it was just all of a sudden like, oh, actually, there is something here that we could do. And then it was like everybody's rocking. I've always been like this. Everybody wants to bounce left. I want to go right.
Yeah.
Always been like that. So everybody's going Gucci, Fendi, all of this stuff. I'm trying to see, okay, cool. Like I'm rocking Made by Mensa. You guys can't see it now, but I want to say, okay, cool. What's Made by Mensa saying? I've seen their stuff is wicked. Or what's another other thing? Loyute, the Dutch brand. What are they saying? If I was rocking jewelry, you need to start making men's jewelry. By the way, I'll be like,
Then I've been
what's the
thinking
Jewellery
about
Trap
it.
saying?
I have been thinking about it, but it's I feel like I'm so happy with where I'm at with this brand now that I'm thinking maybe the men's stuff's got to be like a separate brand. I just feel like it's going to be so different, and I've got a lot of ideas for men's stuff. But nothing. It's not the men's equivalent of what I'm doing. It's men's jewelry, but on a different. It's what men want, which isn't the men's equivalent of what I'm currently doing.
So describe, just if you can, anyway.
Like men don't really wear costume jewelry as much, and they wear a lot less jewelry. They're not changing their earrings and their necklaces
I
every
am.
single day, or maybe you are. But
Yeah,
I feel like the majority of men are just
no, it's true.
fewer pieces and
Yeah,
slightly higher end.
that's true.
And I
You're right.
also like to differentiate yourself for men's jewelry, like all of this like custom stuff, like custom stuff for artists and stuff. The people that have got the money and they're paying for jewelry, this is what they want. So I think
It's true.
if I was to dip into that, I may as well do it properly. And
Sorry, go on.
I don't think I can do that under the Jewellery Trap brand, having such different customers with those kind of men that want that kind of jewelry, which is what I think I would tap into with the costume jewelry and stuff I'm doing at the moment. I just don't think they would go together. But I could be wrong, and I do keep thinking about it and how I can work it out. But So
Maybe just start with small pieces.
yeah,
Like for example, I wish my camera was working. Like did you see at the beginning what I was wearing on my ear?
the little cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you could start with like little pieces like that though.
Yeah.
No?
Then I feel like it's just you're not doing it properly.
Yeah, it's true. You're just throwing it in there just to
Like
throw
you're
it in there, I
trying to
guess.
cover everyone, and I feel like
Yeah.
brands to be successful, they need to know who they're targeting and
Mm.
target them hard.
Yeah.
I'm just putting, this is my main brand, and we're going for this like creamy neutral tones. It's all very girly, and
Mm.
but we're going to just put a collection on there of a few men's earrings. I feel like it will just
That's
it
true.
will take
Just randomly throw it off.
like from what we actually are, but also not make much sales because you're not going to get loads of men coming just for that.
Mm. True.
I might be able to sell a few, but I don't think that's the aim when the focus is the brand and what I want to make the brand.
Wicked. So then, I mean, it was end of 2019, and then we were talking, and at the time, it was trap jewelry when you had the handle, and I see you guys have like 16, 17K followers.
Mm-hmm.
How did you build that kind of following?
So
In
I've
the
got
space of time you did.
most of the credit for that. But it was she pretty much achieved it by doing what I'm about to do. So reaching out to influencers and people with big followings and gifting them jewelry and creating like custom pieces for them and stuff. And just them reposting and sharing it with their audiences. It's like it was over probably I think 3 years or something that she got it to that.
Wow.
Damn.
Hard work.
Yeah, so
But I mean, in terms of cost though, does that not just like kind of hit your pockets a little bit? Well, I guess it's worth it. I mean, if it
it's
grows
definitely
your
worth
following.
it. When you look at you can send one influencer and like a necklace, and however much that necklace is costing me, even if it's hundreds of pounds, because that if they've got enough of a following and they've got enough like a big audience, then that that necklace is going to be sold more than once.
I mean, to be honest, that's so
on the platform that then go to the website. If they do a swipe up or make it easy, you can then end up selling 10 of them or even more, like depending on how big you get. Like people like Molly May and stuff who are promoting Pretty Little Thing, they increase their sales by thousands, not just tens or hundreds. Like so if you're picking the right people and you're getting it shared on on a big enough audience, then however much you're spending on giving out these pieces,
it's peanuts.
People are gonna buy those pieces. So
no, 100%. I mean,
pieces, you're gonna get a lot of expensive sales. If you send them cheap stuff, you get loads of cheap sales. But it's all relative to
what you do
and how much you're spending.
I mean, that's so true. I mean, Tash, who worked so hard on the platform with me, she posted a brand called Loud Brand, right? And literally probably a month, we posted them a month before, what's it called? What's her name? Kylie Jenner happened to get this. Yeah, she happened to get one of the dresses. And then I heard there was a lot of uproar because Kylie Jenner didn't tag Loud Brand, all of this stuff. And lots of people were like, where the hell do you get this dress from? Overnight, the girl, because we were speaking to the girl directly who was leading the brand, her Loud Brand went from literally 5,000 followers to 55,000 followers in not even 2 days.
Bruh.
Literally, that was my reaction. And the thing that killed me was that I had to give so much praise and whatnot to Tash because she's the one sifting through and she found them before they even got to that kind of level, even though it was a month before. True, so it must have been sent out around about that time, but it showed kind of like how good her eye is for stuff. But you're right, like if it just has to land in one person's hands in 5,000 to 55,000 followers, who knows, Lord knows how much it is. Next thing I know, I'm seeing this girl doing up Dubai like it's flipping peanuts to her. I'm surprised she didn't get a gold crusted steak or something like that because she must have been balling. But you're right. And in fact, I mean, letting you into a little secret, that's part of what we're trying to do anyways as well, as part of our marketing and advertising kind of strategy for levels for brands to use us, because we're trying to develop an influencer pool for you guys to reach.
Yeah, yeah.
So once we sort that out, huh?
We had a little chat about it the other day.
Yeah. So once that's sorted, we can share it all up, and then we will just go from there. And you're right. In this current climate, the influencer marketing is probably the most effective way of marketing, especially when it comes to goods.
100%.
Especially when it comes to goods.
And
So
this is why I wanted to do a product-based business, because I realized things like this, like however much, like the reason I loved events at the time, and I wasn't doing like club nights, I wanted to do like the massive like natural history museum, like transformations with all the like those really incredible events is what I wanted to eventually get to a point where I was putting on. But even I was thinking, even to reach my goal of putting on the best event still takes so much time, where with a product you can get lucky.
yeah.
I won't say I don't work hard, I do work fucking hard, but
Yeah, I know that. We're talking of
with certain people, and if I just make myself like dedicated to reaching out to people that I think are way out of my reach, at some point one of them might
will hit.
through,
Yeah.
and it can be one of those moments where I go from a few thousand people to 50,000 people.
No, you'll get there for sure, because
You've got to do that all on your own as a service.
Yep. And the thing is, you work doubly, triply hard, because you realistically are doing this all by yourself. You don't have, like you had before with your sister, where you could kind of slightly share responsibility, although it's shared kind of authority, which you both didn't want to share that, but it's still something that you guys, well, you personally have to work so hard on, triply hard.
Yeah.
And running levels, as I said, I'm so fortunate to have Tash. Now got Mason helping me out with this, and we've got so much more in the way of music coming as well. Like, that we're doing our shoot later on in the month as well.
Yeah.
So we've got so much in the way of music coming, and it's so hard to do it by yourself. But it helps when you got people like you guys as well.
Yeah.
Like all seeing what it's about.
The same for you guys, like the fact that we've like teamed up and we help each other out, and like that helps me with doing everything on my own, obviously. Like
I think
we've got a little community of everyone that's trying to just achieve things and grow their own brands and businesses. We're all helping each other out. You don't feel so much on your own.
I don't think there's enough of that though. I feel like there's
facts.
There's and obviously that's one of the sort of like core bases of levels, is to try and bring people together. But there's not enough people trying to help each other in a way that supports, their business grow, or supports their platform grow, or whatever they're trying to get off the ground. And I feel like that's a huge problem. And that's also where Levels kind of comes in and says, right, like, we're going to try and support people, we're going to try and push people, and just give people a voice and give people a platform to get their stuff started.
Yeah, and
100.
That's massively contagious as well. Like all the people I know that Levels is working with, and like the artists and stuff that are helping me out, I think that like the Levels helping brands or helping the artists rubs off on those brands and artists, and they then want to continue helping other people, whoever it is. Like Kofi Levels, I was going to call you.
Because cool. New brand, Kofi.
All of these artists that I connected with once at that event have since gone on to continue taking photos for me, creating content, reposting, sharing, and they've been a massive support to the brand. And I met them through this platform. So I think it is sad that it's not happening enough. And I think people are too competitive on Instagram, and everyone's in it for themselves. They want the likes, they want the followers, and they think they want more than you. So they're not going to be encouraging people to go to your page and like your stuff and share it and stuff because they're jealous, or they just want it for themselves. People are quite selfish, but I do think it is slightly changing recently, with more and more people realizing that they're being viewed better if they're better people. The best reason, they are being more helpful, they are being more supportive, they are being more pro everything, probably still for those selfish reasons, because they still want the followers, they still want the likes, but it is creating more of a, we all have to be nice to each other. And I think fake it till you make it, and we hopefully will get to a point where everyone's not faking it so much, and actually they realise that it is just really rewarding supporting other people and supporting other brands. I think slowly people do get there, and they do feel like that, but a lot of them are just like, it's supportists and big fans just because it looks good.
It's ridiculous, but I mean, That's Instagram for you. How much time do you actually spend on Instagram in terms of trying to build the brand across that platform?
It varies. Like I spend a lot of time, like hours every day, like or like definitely every day. I think that there'll be probably one day a week where I'm like, I just can't. I just need to put it down. But probably 6 days out of 7, at least like 3 hours on Instagram, I would say. But some days it depends. Like some days when I've just released or launched a giveaway or a competition or something, I'll be sending it out to anyone from any corner of the bloody world. And I'll be sitting there, if I've got nothing else to do and it's a Sunday and I'm chilling out and watching TV, I'll sit there kind of mindlessly, but just posting or sharing and forwarding it to other people, which you can say is obviously still a lot of hours on Instagram, but not all of it's like taking all of my attention. I do sit there on it a lot, just trying to be engaging and trying to connect with other people, but it's not all.
Do you find that it gets to you sometimes, the whole Instagram thing? Do you feel like it at points it kind of puts you in a bit of a headspace where you're not comfortable, or are you smashing through it?
I think I'm actually quite strong-minded when it comes to social media, and I think it did. Like I know some people quite close to me that it does affect a lot more than it will ever affect me. And I think because I've spent so long telling other people to put it down or to not worry about the likes, and it's not about the followers or how many likes you've got, it's about the sales coming in and the consistency. If you're consistent, people love seeing that something's consistent and it's staying the same and it's a strong brand that's staying consistent. And I think that's way more important than the likes and the follows, which I preach to a lot of other people around me. So I think because I do that, I have to listen to myself as well. So if I ever do get like, oh, that one didn't do very well, like talking about posts or something that's not done great, instantly my brain just goes, oh, shut up, Amelia. Like, it's not about the likes, it's not about the follows. And I know, like, we're all trying to increase our likes and increase our follows, but that doesn't just come as followers or as likes. That comes with the sales, and it should all increase at the same time, because if you're being more consistent and you're putting out more content that people are enjoying, over time the likes will come and the follows will come. But we don't need to be worrying about how many followers we've got or likes if we're not even looking at our Shopify account to see how many people are transitioning into sales. Then it doesn't matter. I've had some pictures that get 10, 15 likes and someone's gone and bought something, and I've had some pictures that get hundreds of likes and no one's made a sale. So which one's more important? But because it's like people can see it and it's visible to everyone else, it's people worry about what other people think. So my brand looks rubbish if I haven't got that many followers or if people aren't liking my content. But
I think that's what grounds a lot of people as well. Like, it keeps people kind of from starting certain things. Like, people don't start stuff, or people might not post stuff or do certain things because they worry too much about what someone thinks.
Amelia.
No, it's because I feel like
it's lives. This is my first live. I can't do them.
Oh, so you were nervous to come on the live, or?
Oh, I absolutely hate seeing my face, hearing my voice. Like, the thing is, like, I will really big myself up. Like, I wouldn't like put myself down. I don't feel stupid. I wouldn't say I'm ugly. Like, I'm not one of those like people that's like, I'm not self-sabotaging. It's not that I don't feel confident to come on. I've just always had this. I think it started more with like interviews and like being at uni and like standing up and doing presentations in front of lecturers. I hated it so much that I feel like anything with an audience going on Instagram live or whatever is going to be the same. I just avoided doing it. So not that bad. I want it.
No, definitely, I get that.
But I'm not in front of like 200 people in a lecture hall, so I think.
How do you know that?
I'm not right now.
Do you get any sort of like negative feedback on Instagram, and how do you use that? How do you focus?
I don't think any feedback's negative. People do make negative comments, but well, I wouldn't even say they do really. I think the only To be fair, not since I've changed the Instagram. On the old account, I'll be completely honest, we had last year we had a few people commenting saying that we didn't have enough diversity in our models, and we weren't representing diversity enough with what we had on our Instagram feed. But I spoke to my sister about it, and she took it as an insult. And I just said, don't take it as an insult at all, because she didn't take it as an insult to think, oh my God, we're doing the most. People shouldn't think that. She just thought, oh my God, I don't want people to think of me like that. And she was worried that people would judge her in that way. And I was like, no. Like, that to us is just an eye opener that we are not doing the most. And that in a time like now, we need to change what we're doing and make sure we're doing absolutely everything. So no one feels like this.
Where were they coming from with that comment though? Like what?
Like commenting on our posts and stuff on, I think, like I'm saying, they were commenting. We had like 2 or 3 over the year or something. But there was like, yeah, like comment on a picture of a white model being like, oh, this is gorgeous, but would be nice if she was black. I just think that's representative of the times, and a lot of people are upset, a lot of people are hurting, and I don't feel like that I can tell anyone to not go online and be angry towards any brands that aren't representative. I think fair enough. And I said to my sister, like, we just need to back up our ideas. Like, of course, like when you're a startup, you don't have access to loads of money. You can't just go and pick the models you want. Like, we're trying to build it up from people that we knew, and like family, our cousin, like people around us. But you can't take offense to that kind of stuff. You have to look at it and go, they've got a point.
Do you think brands, and obviously like we're kind of in like sort of like the fashion space. So do you think brands should be more diverse or more inclusive in terms of sort of like the race argument that's going on at the moment? Or do you think if they have sort of like a strong sort of idea, they should stick to it?
Well, I don't think any strong idea is too strong to be inclusive of all people. So if you've got, like, you're saying a strong idea, I guess you're meaning like some sort of brand that naturally they haven't, or not even naturally, they've decided not to be representative of certain ethnicities or something, or like they've got a very narrow focus. I think you can be just as strong, if not stronger, by thinking about your concept, thinking about what this is you're doing, and just adjusting it slightly. There is no brand that I think is, oh, it wouldn't work to be all inclusive for that brand. Like, it only wouldn't work because they're viewed as racist fucking brands. And they're not work, and they should be inclusive, is my view.
Cool.
But I also understand that, like, there are going to be people out there that put out content and stuff and might have 9 pictures on their feed where they haven't been all inclusive in those 9. So as a snapshot from an external person, they don't look like they're all inclusive. And I understand brands find it difficult to then come and justify themselves or put things in place. But I just think it's important for everyone to just be honest and say, we'll do more. And if people are upset with you and you're going to do more about it, then that's all you can do, really.
I think there's some people out there that are just looking. I feel like they're just looking for. They're looking for that. It's like they're like these social. I don't know what to call them, but they're looking for like that moment to be like, oh, you don't have enough of these kind of people in there. You don't have enough of those kind of people. And you know, coming from like sort of like a ethnic background, like, these people are definitely not speaking for all of us, because half of us don't even give a shit. Yeah. But but someone's got to fight the fight, I guess.
And that's how I view it. I don't view it as you're representing anyone from a different background or everyone from other backgrounds to my own. But I just understand that you're saying that because for some reason you believe it, or you're in pain, or your life experiences have affected you in a way where you're angry. Even if I'm not doing something wrong, you posting a comment on my page saying something like that, I just see it as there's an issue that we need to solve. And it's not just my issue as a brand. I can't change the world. But people are doing this to all brands across the whole world because they want to make some noise. And I appreciate that and respect it. And I think even the most diverse brands, if someone challenges them and tries telling them they're not diverse enough, It's just a test to see how they come back, how they respond, what they're going to do about it. If you get angry and try and prove that you're all inclusive, I think that shows that you're trying. It's too much about that rather than actually the person behind the brand fully believing that they want to be inclusive, and anything that upsets anyone or anything that anyone's angry about, I want to move in the direction that they can be helped, or we can eliminate that anger or that like stigma around any of this. I'm there for it. And obviously I've not experienced like certain things like that myself over the years, so I have to take it all from my friends, listen to other people, have conversations, and take other people's word for it.
No, I mean, we obviously talk about some of that stuff from time to time on the platform, but I feel like we have like a fear, especially with something like yours. If someone came across your particular page and they thought that there wasn't enough diversity in the page, a lot of people instantly in their head, they point towards racism. And I'm just like, see, this is where we've got the problem, because it's not a race issue. It's just, like you said, you're starting out, you don't know a lot of people, you haven't got the money behind you. You've just tried to use the people that you've got immediately in front of you. So, and I think a lot of brands have kind of caved. And I'm not saying a lot of these brands haven't sort of for years not really been diverse, because some of them are very guilty of that. But at the same time, I think we need to be quite careful before we write off brands and just kind of assume that that is the case and that's what's behind it. It could be a number of different reasons. So it's
that's the thing as well. Like, no one's written off the brand as long as they make a change. Like, a lot of these comments, or the few comments that they were, I say a lot of them, there's only a couple, but they're not even saying they don't like my brand or they don't like my jewelry or they think that me as a person there's anything wrong with me. They're making comments that, yeah, obviously directed at me as the owner of the brand, implying that maybe I'm racist or maybe I don't care enough to make people feel more comfortable or more included because I'm not like representing them in my pictures. I just learned from that. Yeah, I wasn't. And if a person wants to speak to me, I'll explain the same to them. Like, I don't have people immediately around me from every different ethnic background that I can photograph and include. But that has gone from being fifth on my list to number one on my list, because I'm listening to people that are engaging on my platform. I'm listening to potential customers that say they like the jewelry, but this is what I'd like to see. And so,
do you feel that brands feel pressured into being more diverse now, or is it just them listening to their customer base?
Shouldn't be a pressure.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think it should be a pressure at all. I think some people do feel pressured, but I think that's partly what the problem. That people are taking it personally, like they have to work harder or they have to do something. And actually, this is just a movement across the whole world about our minds. It doesn't matter about whether you're running a brand or you're standing behind the DJ decks or whatever you're doing. It's about what you genuinely feel. And as long as you want to be all inclusive and you want to make a change, and anyone that doesn't feel like they're included or feel like they've been like treated differently, you want to change that. Like, so I think there should be pressure on everyone, on brands, on companies, on people just walking down the street to be more respectful, more inclusive, and not treat anyone differently because of what they look like or where they come from. But I do think brands feel the pressure because they panic, because they've not been all inclusive or because they've not been representative of enough different ethnicities, that they do feel the pressure. But good.
I'm going to ask a counter question to that. Well, not a counter question. Do you then sometimes, well, if you pay any attention, do you then see sometimes some black-owned brands be like ultra black, if that makes sense? Like, I'm only going to use black people for this and I'm only catering towards black people, which I get because, again, we've been on the other side for such a long time. But do you see that and feel away?
No, not at all. The only way I will feel away is if I then try and reach out to that brand, or I try and buy something for that brand, or I try and attend an event or do something where I am then putting myself into that like group of people or amongst that business or whatever it might be. And then I'm personally attacked or personally made to feel
victimized, basically, yeah.
or like that I'm racist because I'm white, or like if I'm then made to feel like that personally, I'll be like, oh man, that's a shame. But I also, again, I will always understand it, like that, like people are angry, like. I can't.
I mean,
if I wasn't black, that I wouldn't want to fucking stay the fuck away all white people from white people forever. I don't know that, like.
Yeah,
I think some people would. So
I think what Kofi's trying to get at is that obviously there are a lot of brands out there that are exclusively black.
Yeah.
From your point of view, do you look at that in a certain type of way and feel like that might be a bit, you know, like does that bother you, or do you have like a counter argument against that? Because obviously we're in a space where right now, if a brand came out and said, I'm exclusively Chinese or I'm exclusively Asian, obviously China's still Asia, but do you know what I mean? There would be a problem. But we're at a stage where brands are exclusively black and there's no counter argument to it, or no one's really saying anything towards it. So how do you feel as sort of like a brand owner looking at that? Like, what is that?
I think again, like each their own. Like I've got absolutely no problem with brands doing that, and again, I respect it because, like I said, if I don't know that I would want anything to do with white people after knowing the years of stuff that they've done, but obviously that's not me right now. So I want everyone to be all inclusive, but also if anyone has a problem with a brand being all black or having a team that's entirely black, if you've got a problem with that, then surely you're racist. We're having an all black choir or an all black orchestra. Celebrate it. As long as they're not standing there going, fuck all the white people, or like they're not being ridiculously the other way. Just by having an all black team or a black business, I don't think is whatsoever.
It's I think that a lot of that stuff's kind of emerged.
The individuals, as long as they're not nasty about it,
yeah,
and it's also the positive thing, then I think that like a lot of these brands and events and stuff that have been just black owned or for black audiences or whatever, I think they've been important. They've given people strength and a platform and everything, and a community where they can talk about stuff that we don't understand. And I think anyone on the outside of that just has to understand that and embrace it, because otherwise you just become like you're trying to fight against race again.
Yeah, I think it's been created kind of more from a place of people not feeling included, not feeling like they've been acknowledged, not feeling like they've been kind of helped in any kind of way. So we've now in a position where a lot of people feel like they're going to try and do their best to help that, you know, the community. And I just kind of wanted to see what it looked like from an outside point of view, because obviously I'm in the community. Stuff like that, I get where it's coming from. I don't think it's coming from a bad place, but sometimes you do get people that think that it is sort of like they disagree with it. So sometimes we just like hearing like different points of view.
Yeah, the other perspective.
On what that looks like from the outside, because obviously being on the inside is.
I definitely don't think it's a problem whatsoever, and I think people that are the problem are the ones saying that they don't feel included, because, honey, you shouldn't feel included. Like you don't have to feel included. Like take a step back and just appreciate what other people might have been through. And if you do feel not included for one evening because you're not invited to an event, or it's something you can't get involved with because you're white, then it's a lesson.
Get out your feelings.
You know what I mean? Like, just, now you can relate a little bit, and not even. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's so ridiculous for any like white people to be complaining that they're not included in something that like people don't want to be included in. If you're putting on an event or like setting something up and you want it to be just for black people, like why would you, like if you're all about supporting the community and giving back, then why would you allow any of your like time or anything for anyone that isn't black? Like, I get it. They're not. It's not like they're trying to damage white people or kicking us as we walk past or anything. Like, they just want to big up and try and like repair some of the damage that's been done and try and make each other feel better, because it's been shit.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Guildford in Surrey.
Deliberate question. Deliberate question.
Yeah,
So then,
a couple of years ago.
what do you say?
I moved to London like a couple of years ago. So I lived in Guildford.
Oh yeah, when you was well, that's when we started roundabout when we started talking, innit? Cool. The only reason I asked that question is then obviously it's a leading question. What then was your experience of coming across black people in Guildford?
There isn't many. It's a very predominant white area.
Yeah.
And I was surrounded by, or not directly like surrounded by, but I knew of a lot more racist people than I've ever encountered in London, and like friends or ex-boyfriends, or we won't mention any names, but people's parents and grandparents from that area who have
Really?
never even left the fucking village they were in have some disgusting views. But I talk to everyone about it, and I think even more so since I've moved up to London, like I just love turning around to those kind of people and going, really? And like, putting some cats on the line and making them feel a bit stupid. But I think it's important, old or stupid, whoever they are, they need to be told. So family or not, I'll tell anyone.
As always, when we get into this rabbit hole, it can go on forever. So
it's
I think I might just nip it in the bud because
it's a mazza.
It's just Mazzolini.
It's one of those conversations that goes on for way too long.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Progress, not perfection. I think everyone.
No, 100%.
Not take everything personally. Not feel like they've got the pressure on themselves to do more, or like.
It's not always an attack.
Like it's not always an attack. Like if you're doing your little bit and you can confidently have a conversation with anyone and be like, look, this is who I am. This is what I believe. I want to be all inclusive, and these are the main things I'd love to help achieve or help sort out or whatever. And you're working towards some of those, then you're doing a bit. Not everyone can do everything, and some people can do hardly anything. Because of, like the mental space they're in, or like. But as long as people aren't being racist and assholes.
Very true. Fine.
My question to you both, obviously, because you both are way more involved in the fashion industry than I am. I'm more of like a jeans and trainers kind of guy. I'm not gonna lie. However, have you come across any sort of like instances in the fashion industry, and just kind of dipping back into sort of like the diversity side of things, where you've seen like a clear and obvious, you know, sort of like discrimination or like anything like that in the fashion industry? Have you seen anything like that?
I'll let you go, Amelia, first.
Fashion in particular. I can't remember exactly what it was or even which brand it was. I know. Oh, it's going to be a really rubbish story because I can't remember anything. But there has been like a couple of high-end brands. I want to say Gucci, or I can't remember exactly who it was, that released. I might have to Google this and come back to you. I think it was a pair of trainers, but it was something that was like
Dior,
blackface, or
the face with the lips.
Yeah.
I think I remember that. Oh, mate,
wasn't it Comme des Craquons?
Oh yeah, it might have been.
Because Comme des Craquons usually
that one stuff.
Hot faces.
That just popped to my head, like talking about blatant,
obvious stuff.
Behavior from someone that big.
Do you know what it is? Like, it's not. I haven't experienced anything, but once you kind of step back and look at stuff, in fact, it's more how they bite culture, and that's one thing that still gets me. I don't mind you kind of like showing the culture and appreciating the culture, but at least pay credit to the people that deserve it. That's all. And that's the one thing I notice across fashion a lot of the time, especially when you get to the high end. For example, and I always use Made by Mentor because it vexed me so hard. Boohoo on Instagram dropped a story, and they got this smiley face logo. Who has a smiley face logo? Made by Mentor. And Made by Mentor have been doing this for 2 years prior. Boohoo now literally bite it so hard. All they did was probably shrink the size of the pupils that they use for the drippy eyes, and then this made a slightly different smile. But it's exactly a Made by Mensa bite. Who else has done this? Alexander Wang has bitten the same thing by Made by Mensa.
He's in a lot of trouble at the moment, no?
Who? Alex Wang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently he's been drugging people and having his way.
Listen. But the thing is,
sticky. Yeah,
it's sticky. But the thing is, I worked with a model. When I was working in the office, there was this male model, and when I tell you, he led a wild life at that age. He was no more than 19, right? He was at parties all day, always doing drugs, always doing this, that, the other. Like, they live a very, very wild lifestyle. So that doesn't surprise me. In fact, there's like a fashion talk, business of fashion. They have some podcasts, right? Very interesting talks. And one guy was talking about how in the late 80s, early 90s, black women being on the catwalk was just so mad to come across, and they were discriminated against so hard until people like Naomi Campbell came along and totally changed the scene. So I mean, when it's instances of racism, it's ingrained in it, but it is getting worked out. But then here's where Levels comes in, because I'm all about integrating it all. I'm all about literally shattering all of that kind of premeditated thoughts and everybody thinking you're not inclusive and this, that, the other. In fact, I just hollered at Tash today and I apologize. I'm a big guy myself, and I apologize to all the other big people. Across our entire page for the past year and a half, we've done nothing for plus size people. And I just thought, Jesus. And there was a guy that I'm talking to now. His name is Sugar Puff. The guy is big. I think he's from Bangladesh. He is out there. He's flamboyant. And he posted something today saying about how Rihanna and did this inclusivity for big people for Fenty. Amazing, amazing stuff. And it just clicked in my mind that we haven't included those people into fashion, because they can be swaggy too. You get me?
100%.
So
I mean,
it's all inclusivity.
This is what I was going to say about what like I learned last year, that I wasn't being all inclusive. It's similar to what you're saying now about plus size. Like it's just a learning curve, and as long as you look back and go, you know what, I'd be a better person and be doing the right thing if I was inclusive of all people. Who are we not including? There's still people I'm not including, but it's not on purpose. And the more money I get, I'll be carefully selecting people to make sure I'm including absolutely everyone I possibly can.
Yeah.
Do you think we've all been kind of like,
bloody hell,
what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you think we've all kind of been programmed socially to kind of think in a certain type of way? Obviously, like across brands and stuff, you don't see a lot of sort of like disabled models and stuff like that, and you don't see the plus size thing is quite recent as well. Obviously, you know, we know about sort of like the ethnicity side of things, but there are some other people that are just kind of overlooked as well within the fashion industry and within a lot of different things. But you think like we've all kind of been kind of just programmed from young to see a certain type of thing, especially when it comes to fashion. It's almost like everybody has to be perfect in a way. So like a disabled person, I don't think I've seen many, if any, in that space. And I think that's something obviously that needs to change. But I look at it like we've kind of been programmed. I just kind of want to see what everyone else thinks in terms of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think like, and even with the like ethnicities and stuff, it's the same kind of idea that we have all been programmed like to like for the norm, like what's been on TV for hundreds of years. You grow up with, or not hundreds of years, but like things are changing now. And actually, it was like funny you mentioned like disabilities and stuff, because I saw a front cover of Vogue the other day with a Down syndrome model on it, and that's the first time I've ever seen anyone with a disability, not just Down syndrome, but any disability being used on something big. So that was quite cool to see. But I think like it's everything. We're all like, we are moving in that direction of being a lot more inclusive. Vogue doing things like that, like a lot more plus size models being like showing their confidence and promoting body positivity and like just being comfortable in your own skin, like whoever you are. I think is we're slowly moving towards that, and I think we definitely have been programmed to see something as normal, which is usually skinny, without disabilities. If we go back further, probably white. Like, it's ridiculous. But I think everyone's trying to stamp that out a little bit, and some more than others. And like you're saying, like disabilities and plus size is probably something that's a little bit later. I reckon disability is probably the latest, at least I've seen around. But I hope we're moving towards that, and I think we will see more and more of it, because I just feel people are waking up a little bit. Like, one thing starts, and then you realise that you can't really be like disrespecting anyone for what they look like or who they are. Like, literally, like.
But it's not been almost the norm, I guess, for a very long time. Like you said, like it's been years. Like if you look at TV, I'm talking about when I was young. Like you don't see much difference in the kind of people you see around. Even like things like anchoring the news. Like the people pretty much look the same on every news channel. You're like,
Yeah,
apart from Trevor that's been flying the flag for a minute, man, like Trevor McDonald. Hold tight, Trevor. But I mean, growing up, it was always kind of the same people that you just kind of it became like the normal. I think, like you said, the whole of society is kind of waking up and thinking we need to be more inclusive in terms of, the viewers and stuff, like, because, disabled people watch the news, like, gay people watch the news, like, and there's only in recent times we're starting to see sort of like more people from the gay community and stuff, like in certain positions. It took a while for that to change though, but I think we're definitely taking a step in the right direction actually, which is a good thing.
I think like a lot of the people that are in control of this, so like you look at like the BBC and like people with all the power, until a lot of the people that work there and the people that have a lot of power within those organisations, until they end up dying off, the old racist ones start dying off, or the homophobic ones, and people from our generation get into those positions, things won't change. But I think that's the thing, like we're in a time of change where these old men are retiring.
They've got to go. They've got to go.
For everyone, like rid of the racists and the homophobics, and and that's what I think why we are seeing a big change, because soon enough, like none of these people are going to have any power, none of them are going to have any jobs, and like after a while,
hopefully
we can be alive. Like,
hopefully, exactly.
It's mad. You still get a lot of people that when you talk about like the dinosaurs. I'm not going to talk about these really old, old men that are kind of in positions of power that don't want to relinquish it and don't really want things to change, and they have certain views about certain types of people, sexualities and skin color, etc., etc. But you do still get quite a lot of young people as well that are just switched off to the idea. I recently left a job. One of the reasons why I left the job was because a pal of mine was gay, and the way the company handled the issue, because someone said something really offensive to him and he left, the way they handled the issue wasn't quite right. And I was just like, if I stay here within this organization, I feel like I'm just as bad as they are, if that makes sense. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to have to dip. I'm going to have to dip, because I just don't think that's right. Because me being a black man, and for years and years, us having to deal with the issue, like I can't see someone from sort of like the gay community or any other community getting discriminated or being dealt with in a certain type of way and just be like, meh. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's where I feel like a lot of people in society need to get to that stage where we just it's just a zero tolerance on everything.
Any of that.
On everything.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, but it's things like that, you making a move like that, which slowly the ripple effect of those kind of things, eventually it will happen enough times to that company or that one person that's making the decisions for them to look at themselves in the mirror and go, you know what, I'm an arsehole. I have to stop treating people like this. And even people that have done wrong things, they can change their perspectives, and we just need to teach them and educate people And eventually, like even the young ones, they're like, there's a lot of young people that are scared to stand up for what they do believe, whether it's someone's been homophobic and that they can't see it. A lot of people wouldn't have left in your position and would have stayed, and then they seem like they're all right with it. But a lot of the time, they're just following this norm that we've been talking about. That they're not doing anything that outrageous in their eyes because no one around them has been making those bold moves to not tolerate it, and everyone has been tolerating it. So they're just being like
everybody else sheep.
Yeah.
The thing is,
like not being strong enough to stand up for someone that or something that they believe in, and it's a lot easier for people to just go, oh well, you know, him.
That's the problem.
Scene or something. Time to cause a scene.
I call people like that spineless, and I hate spineless people. If you see something around you that's wrong, you shouldn't turn a blind eye. You should definitely stand up to it, because it could be you on the other side of the situation. And then
if you notice, sorry to interrupt you, if you notice, the people who are these spineless people, I'm not going to say they're deliberately spineless, since they're only spineless in certain situations. They're protected. That's why they know they can do that. They have a safety net. For example, and I can't wait to get them on the show. I work with a person who's non-binary, right? And I want to get them on this show because the story is just an eye opener. Again, it's just amazing because I had zero knowledge until I met them. I was just like, okay, non-binary, you have no attachment. She's in a science. I shouldn't say she. They are in a science field like I am. I'm all about biology. You got XY, or you got XX. Done. That is it. But then when they start talking and explaining, you start to change your mentality. You're like, cool, I understand. They are going through a certain situation now where some kind of discrimination is happening there, and the company's just, like you just said, dealing with it in such a wrong way. And I said to her, I went through something when I was in one of my jobs. I don't care. I'm baying at the hospital, Chelsea and Westminster.
Shots fired.
Right? Like institutionally racist hospital. And I said, it's a case of they don't want to deal with it. It's as simple as that. They don't want to deal with it.
I think people only pay attention when it's in their best interest.
That, and when they're about to get hit with a fat lawsuit.
Yeah, their best interest. Like, because
person,
they don't want to lose the money.
Yeah, and with this person, I said, look, do the right thing, like by you. If they overstep the mark, hey, listen, I will be right there with you in court, just like this. 10 mil, easy. Because that kind of discrimination cannot happen in this day and age at all. And the amount of gay rights that's in here, she'll have a field day. But it's not about that. It's about changing mentality and changing thoughts. But what you're saying is that, what I'm saying is basically, those people are protected because they have a safety net. If nobody does anything about that, like if nobody pushes, the powers that be will do everything they can to protect that person who is doing the discriminating. That's what I mean by what I said.
And also on that, like just touching on that, like the person being discriminated, it's not so much like us trying to make a difference or like change the mentalities of those spineless people we're talking about that are doing this, but just to stick up for someone and let them know that like it can be really hard on someone that's being discriminated against, whether it's because they're gay or because they're fat or because of their ethnicity or like whatever it could be. It can be absolutely crippling for someone to hear something like that. So whether we can change those other people's minds or not, the fact that they know that we don't stand for that and you're sticking up for them and they feel like they've got someone in to talk to or someone that they can just relate to or just have like express how they feel to, helps them massively, even if we're not like sticking up for the those bullies or those spineless people and trying to make a difference, because we might not be able to. But I think the crucial thing is not tolerating it at all, and then feeling like those people being discriminated then feel like they've got people around them that support them and aren't discriminating against them too.
100%. 100%. Let's bring it back to business talk really quickly, because again we can go down that rabbit hole all day. I've been meaning to actually ask you, currently, what do you find the hardest thing to do with regards to your brand in terms of growing it?
In terms of growing it, well, until you said in terms of growing it, I was going to say
Actually,
photos.
point back period. The photos.
I'm not a photographer, and I'm pretending to be a photographer every day of my life at the minute.
You're doing well.
Thanks. Long time. I swear, I think just because it's not like that's not my profession, I haven't perfected the skill. I just spend so long trying to get the right photos, and sometimes I'll get sick photos, but I don't know how I got them.
But hold up, you use a DSLR camera. You use one of those big cameras, right?
Yeah, one of them.
You know it has an information button which you can press and it'll tell you exactly what you did.
Yeah, I know, but I play around with it so much and just keep like twizzling like the button, like the knob, the button, pressing loads of different things. I get the right pictures, then I'll get them, and then I don't know what. Like.
I love it. I love it, but that's the thing. Like it will come.
YouTube.
All of that will come.
Money.
Yeah, it's true.
Go on YouTube. Follow this guy called Peter McKinnon, and he will talk you through a ton of different things.
Who?
Peter McKinnon.
Peter McKinnon.
Yeah,
I've actually heard of that, but I've never actually paid attention.
He is the G. Like he grew his YouTube channel from like 0 to 60 in a very short time. Like he got a lot of recognition for it because he's such a sick photographer and he's such a creative. You just can't help but like the guy. He's got that likability. Plus, he tells you, he's done like videos and stuff and tutorials and stuff about the cameras and what he uses and how to get certain kind of shots and all that kind of stuff. I'm heavy into like photography as like a hobby, but I'm not a pro or nothing. But like, he was one of the people that kind of helped me on the journey. So if you're looking to grab some tips and stuff, like definitely check out Peter's channel. And it will.
I think this day and age, there's so much information. Actually, you can actually teach yourself.
Yeah.
A lot.
When I say it, I don't mean like I am reading up a lot and stuff, but it's just the one thing I feel that when I've got some money, that's where I'm going to be putting.
You're going to invest it.
People creating content for me, and the hours and hours and hours that I spend throwing my camera at the wall.
Yeah.
Someone else for that time, and I can use my time on something better. Like I'm the business person at the end of the day, and I love making sure that the operations of the business is running smoothly. All my spreadsheets, like I said, I'm a perfectionist, and I like all of those that kind of side of things. So like I can get creative, and I do enjoy it. Like I said, I did a photography A level, and I actually really enjoyed photography until I started taking pictures of jewellery. Like nature, and I went traveling. Like I've been all over the world and taken lots, like those kind of pictures I enjoy taking. But product photography, trying to get it to look in the best light, in focus, like yeah. I think rather pay someone else for that frustration. Someone that enjoys it.
Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah.
Doing their passion and being paid for it, because
I
mean.
But you don't you have somebody who took a couple of shots? I think of Daisy.
Yeah, she's been amazing actually. And like those, a lot of my pictures I don't take. It's just like the product shoots and stuff. Apart from that one that she's done, I've done all the product shoots, and then models. Like I've just been super lucky in who I've been working with and how much like professional content they've got that just fits with my theme and my aesthetic and everything really well. I've been really lucky.
How much have you thought about fashion tech?
Fashion tech? As in...
And I knew that would throw you. I knew that would throw you.
Expand.
Because... Pardon?
Expand.
No, fashion tech is... I personally think for brands which are established now, they can invest in it. Like over the lockdown period, there were tons of three-dimensional catwalks. So they had tech companies who would obviously do these computer-generated mannequins effectively.
Yeah.
And they would make 3D prints of outfits and then put them on the mannequins, and they would just literally do a catwalk with them. Now, this is whole part of this fashion tech where people are creating a lot of technology and softwares to help people shop online because of the death of the high street, for example. Now, I was listening to a very interesting, because I'm part of this group. It's called Black Business, actually. Funny enough, Black Business Group. And one of them did a YouTube live with some American girl who does this kind of stuff. And one of the suggestions was, if you find somebody who, I think they call them software sparks or something like that, they can do like a filter of, say, your earrings you've got on now. They can do a filter of the earrings, right?
Oh yeah.
And attach them to your thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maya Jama.
Yeah.
She's just launched her like face masks. And
Yeah.
one of those on Snapchat where you can put like the little eye mask under and it comes up with midge masks.
Exactly.
Wearing them in your taxi or something.
Pardon?
I said it just looks like you're wearing them. So you can post all these pictures and it's like everyone's like they're wearing
Precisely. But that's all part of the whole thing, because of the death of the high street. So much is moving online that fashion tech, as I said, is strangely being so overlooked. So that's why I deliberately asked you that question. Have you thought anything about that in the future, or even in the near future at all?
I think it's very early. Well, I say very early days. Probably not like massively early days, but it's something that I'm not very knowledgeable around. So like, like you're talking about, like when you can like go put like drag clothes and drop them onto like
literally
images and stuff, so you can kind of see what it would look like on. So I think, I don't know. I think I've actually heard at my old university that a couple of people came up with this idea. It might have been around at the time already, but it was something that they wanted to do, and they spoke to so many brands that said they weren't interested, that it kind of made me think maybe it's not something, like maybe it's a bit of tech that we're getting excited about because it's like an advance on what we're currently doing in online shopping and everything. But actually, I think to the consumer, how beneficial actually is it? And I think this comes back to like everyone, like how different we are and everything, and our bodies and everything. Like, how can you?
You'll be surprised as to what they can do.
Yeah, I'm
serious.
That's the thing. Maybe like if I had some techie guy that worked alongside me, or other friends of the techie guy, I might be looking into this a lot sooner. But I won't write it off. It's definitely
we'll talk. Trust me, Amelia, we'll talk.
You're my techie guy, are you?
I'm not a techie guy, but I know techie guys who have thrown some stuff at me.
Yeah.
And in turn have made me throw some stuff back at them and just go, ooh, okay.
Ooh, yeah. Well, I like it.
Yeah. So we'll talk, but it's something as we talk to more brands anyway. I think it's something that we'll definitely tell them to really look into. Or just join us on the Levels platform, because we'll do it.
Maybe it would be better with jewelry because it's not so much about your size and your shape and everything. Like, it's a bit simpler to.
It's more about skin tone, but that's not hard. That's not hard to render, to be honest.
I don't know. Yeah, like the clothes you're wearing though, then you'd have to pair up clothes I've already
You'd be surprised.
Look at what my jewelry could look like with it.
Trust me, you'll be surprised. That's what I'm saying. Just join the Levels platform website when it comes out.
I'm waiting.
We got you. We'll sort you. We got you, definitely. Anyways, let's rewind back a little bit. I mean, we've been going for how long now? Probably an hour and 20 minutes. This is normal for us. Let's rewind back just a little bit. It is normal for us. Yo, we're gonna hit midnight again. Let's rewind back a little bit. What do you say?
I was just saying, basically, like, nah. Like, game on a time.
Nah. No, but the thing is, he will say nah, but we'll get talking, and next thing you know, it is midnight.
Yeah,
we do this all the time.
Every time.
We do this all the time. But anyway, let's rewind back.
Through some of the last ones, I was like, what, 3 hours?
Yeah. Which one was 3 hours?
Huh?
Yeah, we've had 3 hours.
Yeah.
Who was 3 hours?
I don't know, 2 hours and 58 minutes or someone.
Saad.
The one with Saad was quite long as well. Shout out to Saad.
All right, cool. Let's rewind back then. Like, describe how you grew up. Describe how you grew up, and then let's lead.
Wow. How did I grow up? I'm one of 8 siblings.
Rotted.
To start.
Same mum, all of you?
No. So my dad had 3 kids before he met my mum.
Okay.
So my 2 older sisters and my older brother, and my mum already had my 1 older brother and 1 older sister before she met my dad. So he had 3, she had 2, and then they met and had me and my 2 younger brothers.
About to say, okay, you're third youngest. All right.
Merged.
Jesus.
Yeah. We're now the clan.
You are indeed.
Well, I say loads. My two sisters have got 2 kids each. My brother's got a kid on the way. There's lots of grandchildren
Congrats.
and
You're auntie of many.
all over the place. Yeah.
Christmas must look like a mad
Matters.
one for you.
Matters.
When they said lockdown this Christmas, I was like, oh, you know what?
That's all right.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I'm joking. No, I love
You know,
it.
they're probably, you know what? They're probably gonna watch this and say, "You said what?"
No, then I'll sit back and be like, she said it. She said it.
She said it.
At least someone said it.
Thinking it, yeah.
Now we're all thinking it at Christmas. You know, when you get into like the 4th hour, you're like, all right, cool. Who's ducking out first?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Because I'm like, look, I've missed you lot, but that's enough of you now.
It's enough. I've had my dose.
I'm so overwhelmed in the first hour that now I can bounce.
Yeah.
That's how much I missed you.
Damn. All right. Cool. So
yeah, there's 8 of us. I don't know. Like childhood was a bit mad for us. Our parents weren't your say.
they weren't your average parents.
Huh?
They weren't your average parents. You said.
Average Surrey parents.
Okay. What's an average Surrey parent?
Well, they've got a bit of money. They turn their nose up. They're just doing everything right. Driving a I don't know what it is. Probably
Porsche
like
or whatnot.
or something. No.
Yeah. Something super safe.
Got some friends that just bought a house in bloody Surrey. Cost almost £1 million.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
It's insane. And like even where we're from, so we're like not in the nicest bit of Surrey. But me and my mum were talking the other day. She's just putting an extension on the house actually, and we're going to sell it and like try and like do a bit of property and developing together as a family. Like my brothers are all in the trade. My dad's in the trade. Like it's silly for us not to really. But we were talking about the housing market and everything and where we grew up, and she was like, "You like it's mad to think now that like the whole street is full of like middle class families that like young families that are all commuting up to London, and back in the day it was like a place that was just like us wild kids running around
just running around like mad.
And now it's just it's crazy. Anything on the train line down that way is going crazy.
What's the area called, sorry?
Guildford, a couple of from Guildford, been Guildford and Godalming. Surrey is where I grew up. I went to school in Guildford, so I spent most of my time in Guildford.
Godalming's a real nice area.
Yeah, that's what I say in between.
Real nice area. Real nice area. Okay, what else happened during then? When else you were growing up, like?
So like we just, I don't know. I find it quite hard to talk about. I talk about a lot of stuff with like everyone that's close to me, but being 8 of us, I don't know how everyone else feels about like us being so open and everything. So I don't know. What I will say is when I listened to Dan's thing last week, I was quite touched because it was, like I said earlier, like it's the flip of me. So he grew up, he was super good at maths, like he was saying, and like we're doing really well at school, and it all turned around for him at like 10 years old. And everyone's like, whoa, like that must be crazy. And I feel so lucky that it didn't happen that way around for me. But it did happen the other way around. And actually my parents sorted themselves out at about 10, 11 years old. So when I went to school, that's when they gave it all up, and they started taking me to clubs. I did like karate like 6 days a week. I was training all the time. Mum was taking me to competition all over the place. It like properly turned it around, and that's when I think that's where I found my drive. I grew up at like 7 years old, like I was proper grown for a little kid, looking after my younger brothers and that. And I think growing up with that head on my shoulders, when I got to 14, 15, like starting thinking about life and that, I knew that I wanted to go against what everyone thought that we were all going to achieve. So I wanted to go to uni. I was getting nothing less than a first. I wanted to make loads of money, and this is probably where my drive for business comes from. Like from a young age, I want to be the best. I want to prove to those kids at school who judged me or said, I had kids that came up to me at like 9 years old in my first school saying, "We can't be friends with you. Our mums told us we can't be friends with you." And I was like, obviously,
did you go to all girls school?
No.
No,
Mixed but my mum sent us to like the best school, so we were surrounded by loads of posh kids, where living my lifestyle as a child wasn't the norm for them. So they're like,
He's just ratchet.
Amelia and her family. And so like that's not nice as a 9-year-old, but as I grew up, I was like, actually, I'm so happy that I experienced these kind of people, and I realised you can fuck up and how much you can go wrong, and how much putting it right can actually make a massive difference. Like some people are like, oh, you'll be damaged for life or whatever, but actually, turn it around, then mad respect.
Do you think, like obviously the story that you just described, do you think that if you had kids, let's say, you know, in 10 years time, I don't know, I don't want to sort of like intrude or whatever, you're married, you've you've got like you know, you're married, you've got a couple of kids, and your children came across like someone that was similar to you in their school, what would be your advice to them? Would you want your kids to be friends with someone like that, or would you say
Amelia?
Would you say stay away from them, or?
I think I would say be careful and just explain to them that, like, naturally someone that's growing up with those kind of difficulties, or parents that aren't quite completely solid or might not be making completely the right decisions or even looking after you the way they should be wary that those parents also might not look after you as well. And I probably wouldn't let my kids go around their houses if I didn't know what they were like or whatever. But I would always explain to my kids not to relay that information to the child. And it's not the child's fault, and the child can grow up to be great and can do whatever they want. And no one should be going to school picking on a child because of their parents or because of their background or what car they're driving to school in or whatever. But I'm not silly. I also know that I understand all those parents that were telling their kids to not hang out with me was probably a scared thing. They didn't understand. They were sorry mums that didn't know anything about that.
Different.
So I understand why they're like, stay the hell away. Like,
yeah, it's funny that it ties into black people too.
That kind of behaviour, and a lot of people just assume, if your parents are smokers, you'll be a smoker. If your parents are drug addicts, you'll be a drug addict. If your parents sit on their ass and just live on the dole, that's probably what you will do. It's not always the case.
It's a bit judgy, isn't it?
Yeah. So like, obviously, I'll be telling my kids, like, there is a good chance that Johnny that you're hanging around with could turn into like whatever his parents have turned into, but also he might not. Like, don't put him in that box. But be careful, because
I think what we've had with obviously you explaining your story there, like some of it, and what we had on with Dan last week, is your parents got their shit together, right? That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Shouts to your parents. Zup zup.
Zup.
They'll love me to talk about this.
But his mum didn't really get it together, and that had like a ridiculous impact on him. I mean, the part where he said to me, well, he said to us that his mum died while he was in prison, that touched me differently. That was harsh. He's on the phone to his dying mother and he's behind bars. Jesus Christ, I was like, fuck.
And he was in there for something so minor. He should have been out.
And the thing is, and obviously I know we had a lot of banter in the chat and that, but he is working at it. Like, he's really working at it. Like, he's really working at it. You can still see he's like smiling and stuff, and he's trying to come off the end. You know what I mean? But some people just don't ever really recover. And I'm glad that he's moving towards like the right path, and your parents obviously went towards the right sort of path as well, because it's life, man. Like, when you look at the grand scheme of it, it can go sour very, very quickly, and you might not come back.
I think that's why I massively appreciate the position I'm in, and like when I tell a lot of people, and I'll say it a lot like more blatant and blunt to a lot of other people, but when I tell them, they're always like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "What are you sorry about? You're sorry you're sorry that I had my eyes open to all of this mental stuff that taught me loads. Sorry that I grew up really young. Sorry that I'm now really sick and level-headed, and I've got my head screwed on, and I'm like, I've sorted
It's just
out
people's
all my
default reactions.
that kept me down, or the way I viewed myself, people not accepting me because of my parents or whatever it was. Like, I ironed all that stuff out so early on that these people that are apologizing to me, I'm like, I'm sorry that you never like experienced
Experienced it.
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Because you're so narrow-minded that you think I must be damaged or I must be really struggling because of what I experienced. Actually, I might have been if they hadn't been doing it out.
I
But
think
the fact that they did, like, I'm just lucky, like, for how it all worked out. Some people it doesn't work out.
no, I think what you touched on about, like, obviously people being able to change, because I'm a strong believer in people changing. Like, you're not, whatever you're born as it doesn't decide what you're going to die as, if that makes sense. It's not your be all and end all. So people can change. People can, come back from certain things, or if they've gone through certain things. I think the problem kind of comes in sometimes when, if sometimes people get a really troubled childhood and they use it as sort of like they use that to lean on to say, well,
It's an excuse.
yeah, and we have a lot of that in society, and we touched on this kind of in one of the previous podcasts about like single mums and stuff. They obviously get pregnant early, things don't go too well, but you can't use certain excuses. Life's just a hard thing, isn't it? Life is really, really hard.
The thing
And
is, like, using excuses is you're self-sabotaging. Because if I grew up in my older years walking around going, oh guys, I'm gonna drink loads, or I'm gonna act out, or I'm gonna be an arsehole, or treat people in my relationships, boyfriends or best friends, whoever they are, with little respect, and keep like messing people around because of my troubles, I'm not gonna continue having a like really great life fulfilled with loads of really good relationships and stuff. Like, the only benefit, or there is no benefit, the only thing I'm going to get out of using my childhood as an excuse is I'm putting myself in that box that everyone else put me in. And I'm never going to make the stuff or achieve the stuff I wanted to achieve, because I'm already placing myself in that box that I feel sorry for myself because I'm too weak to achieve this, or I'm damaged by this or that. Like, I'm not damaged. I'm just aware.
Do you feel as you have a chip on your shoulder?
A lot of people didn't see, and I've learned a lot from it. I think I'm a little bit wiser than a lot of people out there.
Do you feel you have a chip on your shoulder, and that's what kind of spurs you on a little bit?
I think because there's a lot of us siblings, I feel like I found myself as like this middle one that I ended up like looking after. Well, not looking after them. I make it sound like my parents didn't look after my younger brothers. They did, but I was very protective of my younger brothers. But also, I think my older siblings saw a lot more than what I saw, so they were affected more. So I was in between protecting my younger siblings, but also helping my older siblings unsee or fix the problems that they'd already developed. Because, like I said, I was like 10, 11, maybe even 12. My older siblings had gone through their teenage years and puberty a bit more than I had. Their paths were kind of already determined a little bit, which weren't the best paths. So I think it's not so much that I've got a chip on my shoulder. I think it's more that I've seen both sides of it. Like, I could act out and start like acting like all of my childhood and everything means I can't hack it, and I need to go and, I don't know, run around the streets, do loads of drugs, or like whatever it might be, like just start going a bit mental, like I've seen people do. And on the flip side, I don't want to do that, but I'm not anti it. I'm not like, oh, you're fucked up because you've done this, or I don't judge people for it. I get it. So I'm just there for those people like around me that have done that, helping them get out of that, because I've seen my parents do it. So if I can respect them more than anyone on this planet, I can respect any druggie, like whoever they are, knowing that they can turn it around themselves. And I don't think it's that, like, I don't know. I think I just learned a lot of this from a young age, and I think a lot of people don't see these kind of things until they're a lot older. So I sound like I can, like, I've got the answers, or I can prove whatever it might be, but it's not. It's just that I'm passionate about it, and I hate seeing people beat themselves up about the, like, based on their childhood or how bad they had it or whatever, because I feel like they're holding themselves in that mindset and they're not helping themselves get out of it, because they're just labeling themselves as these people that they're too damaged, or they're not going to achieve because they're struggling too bad. And there's always a turnaround.
Just to touch on what Kofi said, like obviously you said you've got 8 siblings, right? Do you think that environment was, in a way, a healthy environment for your ambition and for your drive?
I think, I don't know, that's a weird, I think it's actually, I wouldn't say my siblings had a massive effect on that. I feel like I was quite an internal child. And I never, although I knew everything that was going on, like I didn't talk to anyone much about what was going on. I felt like I was like just absorbing all of this stuff. But slowly, as I grew up, I was figuring it out at the same time. So I wasn't like, all right, this has happened, but that's a reflection on me, or my parents don't care, or why have they, like, I never had those kind of questions of why me, or why have I been put in this situation. And it was always me, even from like as young as 7, figuring out why they did it. What makes a human do something that fucking ridiculous or outrageous that other people would see it that way? What makes them do that when we all know that's outrageous, or we all know that that's not right? So I think I just started to try and understand why people do these kind of things, and not why it happened to me. It's not just me; it happens to everyone.
Yeah, going off what we heard from Dan, and obviously something maybe your personal experiences as well. We obviously have a problem with drugs in just every community. Do you think maybe, and this is something that I ask a lot of people, not particularly on the podcast, but just in general, do you think like our drug laws need to be relaxed a bit?
I do think. I think it would give people a lot more power and responsibility.
Or the way we kind of, there's definitely a problem there. Like maybe the way we handle it in terms of like maybe, you know, some decriminalizing some of the drugs.
Yeah, I'm 1,000,000%. I think even all of them. Obviously, that then gives the people full responsibility as to whether they want to take it or not. It's legal. Go and buy it, have it, give it to them. If you then decide to take it, you've got a lot more, like it being this illegal substance and it being something that only people or kids, which isn't the case, I'm just saying, like a lot of people view it this way, that kids from like, more poverty backgrounds or like areas that aren't as well developed or whatever are a lot more likely to do it.
Not true. As DJs, we have first-hand experience.
Exactly, but also I think that's just because we've got this negative connection to drugs. They're illegal. So if they weren't legal, and we started opening up about actually who takes them, how many people take them, and who they are, and start actually being real about it and going, okay, well, it's not these groups of people that are taking them, and we need to sort out why these groups of people are taking them. Why do anyone take drugs? To escape reality, or to numb the feelings that they feel, or to ignore whatever they've got to fucking do, or they're procrastinating on, or anything. It's just to block it all out. That can happen for anyone. So if they were to reduce like the laws on it or decriminalize it, I think it might spike it at first, and loads of people take loads of drugs because they've got to do or whatever.
Bare people in the corner, flipping out.
But I think over time it would mean that people can't use that as an excuse that it's illegal or they've been around it like this. Like it's a legal substance like alcohol, and alcohol's not like obviously there
it's just as bad, if not worse.
But it's readily available to everyone, and everyone can use it if they want to, but we've got to realise why they use it, and it's not because of who they are or where they've been brought up. It's because they've got shit that they want to hide or suppress or block out, and that's what we need to realise. I think we categorize it too easily into.
The irony is both of you are drinking something, innit?
Wait, listen. Yes. Trust me. Listen.
Like I said, I'm not against it.
Mate, you know what? I feel like I said, you touched on it a little bit. People definitely use drugs to escape their reality. And I just find it weird that in 2021, where we're so advanced and, you know, much more people are educated across the world, because you're thinking, 100 years ago? We had a very small population that was educated to a level. Like now, there's quite a lot of people compared to 100 years ago that were educated and know right from wrong in certain places. That we're still putting people in jail for putting substances into their own bodies. Like I think it's weird. Like it's weird, and it's like it's something that we need to look at, because I think some people are definitely drawn to the edgy side of it. Like some people, when I was back in school and stuff, some of the kids were smoking weed because it was a cool thing to do, because it was like they were looking for something a bit edgy because it was illegal and it was cool. If you decriminalize some of this stuff, obviously like school kids, you know what I mean, you got to put like an age gap on it, like you would with alcohol, like an age cap. Sorry. If you decriminalize some of this stuff, it takes away. I think it automatically eliminates certain sectors of of society that would want to do it based on certain things, and the people that are trying to step away from their reality to use it, I think we just find a way to manage those people and get them back into society correctly, rather than throwing them in jail.
100%.
You know, but I'm not. You know, I'm not a politician.
I think that also, like, it makes it on the same kind of like point that you're on. People like this whole idea that we should lock people up because they're consuming something themselves with their own body, like you said, probably because of their own mental health, or they're struggling and actually need help, not locking up. It's also the fact that because it's illegal, people don't want to talk about it. So people don't want to say, "Oh, you must be struggling, or you must have a hard time. Like you're just a druggie," and it's a negative thing. So if it wasn't illegal, I think it would also take away that negative stigma and allow people to actually talk about it a lot more and help each other about it, rather than just going, "Oh God, that's illegal. I'm not going near that. I don't do illegal stuff." And it's just actually someone's having a hard time. People
Again,
like prescription drugs or whatever, and it's a lot more accepted that you're just popping a few too many codeines or extra antidepressants or whatever it could be, than like to adjust your mood, which is exactly what illegal drugs do. They adjust your mood or block out feelings, but people don't see it like that because they're illegal.
Because the government ain't making money on it. That's why.
nah.
Anyways, again, big conversation. What do you say?
I said, but they could, but that's another podcast in itself.
Again, rabbit hole.
We're
Rabbit hole.
gonna have to get some experts in to talk about that, because they'll have to figure out the economics of it all.
Funny. I had somebody after Daniel's thing last week holler at me. Again, another school friend. He's actually does a lot to do with drugs and research and drug rehabilitation, all of this stuff. Reached out to me, said, "Yo, I'd love to come on the show and talk about it." So there you go.
Boom.
There you go.
We
could make it work.
At a time.
Pardon?
I said you're changing the world one person at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Kofi's just this social butterfly, man. He does numbers. Like it's just a social
I really
butterfly.
just float. I don't know how or what. I literally just float. We give thanks. We give thanks to God. That's all I can say. That's it. All right. Let's wrap this up on a bit more of a lighthearted note. What have you got in store for 2021? What are your goals?
So 2021, in terms of the business, like I was saying about the influencers, I'm working on an influencer program at the moment, where I'm coming up with more of a structure to how I want to be working with these influencers in the future. So I'm kind of building it as I'm reaching out to these few that I'm not going to mention their names, but you'll see them soon. But yeah, as I'm reaching out to them and working out what I need from them, what I want from them, and how the relationship and everything's working, I'm putting together a program to make it a lot more easy to like replicate it in the future. People can sign up to the influence program, they can apply and stuff through the website. Eventually, they can't write this second, but that's what I'm working towards. And just mainly focusing on the marketing now. I feel like the business, like the blueprint and the operations and the back end of the business is pretty solid now, and I've been working on that for a long time. So it's more about getting my face out there, putting a face to the brand.
Welcome to the Levels podcast.
So yeah, more of this, more marketing, more influencers, and yeah, just putting myself out there. I think it's now more about like being more social with it and reaching out to as many people, talking to as many people. If I could be networking and everything physically, that would be great, but we can't. But yeah, I've done a lot of hard work behind my laptop, and I think it's time to step out from behind the screen or not for a while, but be more social and grow the business in that kind of area.
What's the one piece of advice you'd give to anybody trying to start up their own sort of like, jewelry business?
Not even specifically jewelry, but I would say consistency. And I'm sure so many people have said this, but I think so many people give up, even if they are being consistent. They're not consistent for long enough. And I've done it myself, where I've done something for so long and gone, oh, this isn't working. I changed it, and I've looked back since and gone, if I'd carried that on for as long as I was carrying this on or doing what I'm doing now, something would have moved. And people get impatient and then change it up. But the amount of work you put into those initial ideas and then throw it all in the bin, you don't feel like it's going. Is a lot of work to throw away, and I've done that several times. And I think now, every time I'm a bit disheartened, but I've got this new platform, as you know, the Instagram. I've got far less followers. I'm starting again, kind of thing. But every little win for me, and I'm loving the aesthetic that I've created, the new color theme and everything. I wouldn't have done that if I had the old one still. So just seeing all the little positives in it and staying consistent and not just trying to change it up because you look at it and go, oh, they're not liking this, clearly because I'm not getting millions of followers and likes and whatever. And just keep pushing out your vision, because no one sees your vision until it comes to light, and then actually your assistant can really pay off.
By the way, the new logo is serious. I fully love it. Yeah, the new logo is serious.
Yeah, I think.
And when you told me he was moving away from the pink, I was surprised. I was like, but that's kind of what I associated with you guys. But then you showed me what it was. I was like, got it.
I know. I almost didn't recognize it. I was like, oh,
yeah.
This is different.
When I started Trap, it was me and my sister started it together as a separation from Moon Trap. So we were having like the younger audience and the, like more fashion costume pieces, and that's kind of why I went the pink and this like young feel to it. But actually now I'm building up my own brand, and it's not just going to be the like costume jewelry. I want to introduce some more luxury, and I want to like it's going to be an all-rounder more so. I needed to move away from that pink, and I just wasn't feeling it.
How do you source your jewelry and stuff? Your like gems when you're using like any stones?
So
you just started your new range, correct?
Yeah. So the new stuff, the zodiac signs, have just dropped on the website this weekend, and we've got a giveaway online, a Valentine's special giveaway for 2 people to win their zodiac necklaces, gold-plated zodiac necklaces. You just have to tag a person in the comments, whoever you want to win it, and then the person tagging and the tagger and taggy get them.
Tagger and taggy,
Those all dropped on the website recently. But back to where I'm sourcing them from, it varies depending on the pieces. So I'm working with some people my sister's working with new designs and stuff. We've got guys that hand make pieces. We've got people that CAD design pieces. I'm stocking other people's designs and other people's stock. So it's a real mix up of handmade, 3D printed, and bought in pieces, but it's all a mixture.
Do you sell through like just exclusively for your website, or do you like mess with like sort of like Amazon and brands?
I haven't messed with anyone else yet. I'm just doing it through the website. But I have been looking at. I was thinking maybe even like Depop or.
Depop's wicked.
Depop, and it's booming at the moment, I think.
I sell so much trainers through Depop.
Do you?
Like, whoa, yeah. I was surprised. And even Facebook Marketplace, actually.
Facebook Marketplace, a mazza.
I was thinking of places like Depop, but I just wondered if it took away from the brand a little bit, like seemed a bit too much like a one-man personal vibe, or if.
Nah, I mean, there's I get what you mean about that, but I think it can only help you because it just expands your reach to another audience, because a lot of people on Depop, they like the pre-loved, pre-owned kind of more vintage wear because it is selling a lot of used stuff. Although all
Yeah.
the trainers I see are like brand new and stuff like that, so there is people looking for that kind of stuff as well. But there's a girl that we hopefully are going to start working with more soon. In fact, you'll see one of her pieces on the 27th. She does a lot of upcycling. She sells solely through Depop.
Yeah.
Solely. But hers is a bit different, obviously, because she upcycles and she's reinventing stuff. But trust me, jewelry wise, Depop you should look at. You should actually really try and look at.
Yeah, I may as well. I've opened an account and everything. I just need to list some stuff on there. And I thought even if it's just getting it out there to a different audience, people even just seeing the page or seeing the brand out there or what we're about, they might end up buying through the website and not through Depop. But it's an extra platform that people are viewing you. So why not?
And at the end of the day, that's all it's about. It's about increasing your exposure. When it comes to all of this stuff, is what I've come to realize. And as I said, I'm keen to get the website up and running. It won't be probably till May, I think. But when it's up and running, I reckon it's something that would be really beneficial. You asked a question about if she's on any other places. She'll be on Levels.
Yeah, soon.
She'll be on Levels. But yeah, there's one more question I was going to ask. I totally forgot now. Flipping. Oh, okay, that was it. If somebody slapped you with 100 grand, not literally,
You know
with
what? I
100
wanted
grand,
to know where that question was going.
sorry, with 100 grand, I'm so sorry.
I was like, huh?
With 100 grand
The last
right
question:
now,
if someone slapped you, bruh.
with 100 grand right now, what would you do?
Someone slapped me with 100 grand right now.
Yeah. What would be the one thing that you'd focus on with your business? Or, yeah, with your business.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes things. I was going to say, put 2 middle fingers up at all this and go to Dubai like everyone else. I'm not. I wouldn't. No, seriously though, I think starting to build my team. I think that's something. No, I definitely can't afford at the minute. But as soon as I've got enough money, that I will be building up my team. I think it's so important to push forward to get other people on board. Like ideally, I want someone that I'm paying part-time to be working a little bit every week on helping me with my social media, keeping that popping, increasing the amount of times I'm posting, just upping the levels of everything. But there's only so much I can do that way. Like, I'm exhausting every me by I'm like constantly taking pictures or editing the website or working on the Instagram, or there's always something to do. So the sooner I can get some more people on board to help me with all these different things, a photographer would be great. You're out there, photographers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a team is really important.
It is, but why don't you look at the Kickstarter program then?
Well, I think I just want to I want to get like specialist help, like use freelancers on a part-time basis, and just start by using people like really specifically for tasks and things that I need doing, so that I know that I'm being careful with my money and what I'm investing it in. And then,
but the Kickstarter program isn't your money though.
What's what is in like a crowdfunding?
Government grant. It's a government grant. They allow you to take 16 to 24-year-olds or 16 to 26-year-olds. I forgot what it was. On for like part-time hours. I think it was like for 30 hours a week, and they pay for it.
Oh, I'm not thinking of Kickstarter. I'm thinking of there's another business startup.
I'll send you the link actually.
Yeah, that could be a shout. Though that could be a shout, because I think that's what that's one of my main focuses is figuring out what I really want extra help with, and then placing some money in those areas to push it forward.
I mean, I feel you on that, and as I always say, I'm always so grateful that I have Tash, because if I spent the amount of time that I really want to spend on social media, it'll be a joke thing.
Yeah,
it'll be such a joke, because two things: you once you on Instagram anyway, once you start and you find a couple of people, then again you jump down one rabbit hole, And then next thing you know, you're like, okay, cool. Oh, that's wicked. I could hold like that person, hold like that person. Then before you know it, it's like, damn, there's so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even know where you can even start or where you're going to even find the time to do it. Because like in your case, yeah, tomorrow, cool, I have to do a couple product shots and then this and then that. So I totally feel you on building a team. I'd want to expand a little bit more, but yeah, I feel you. And that's a good one, to be honest.
But yeah,
Because
I think I'll do it
you
slowly.
know, without a team.
I'll start with like freelancers that just want some like a few hours a week or something to help me with certain areas, and just build up more and more people, and then hopefully I can get to a point where I've got each one of them full time, and they're just in house.
Yep. Cool. Wicked. I just found the link for you. I'll send it to you. 16 to 25-year-olds. Hold on. This scheme enables business to employ 16 to 25-year-olds and their wages, including NI, are paid by the government. This placement lasts 6 months.
Man, I'm definitely going to look into that.
Yeah, man. For sure. For sure. The only reason I haven't done it is because I've got this stupid preconception that I swear the government will say, yeah, we'll give you all of this. Yeah. After all COVID, they're going to say, okay, cool. We actually need you to pay this back plus 25%. I'm like, nah, bruv. That's all that's going on in my head. That's the only reason I have not gone down this route.
That's the Ghanaian in you, bro.
100%.
That's the Ghanaian in you, bro.
That's that tight stinginess.
Tight. It's like hold it so close.
It's like, are you sure that this one won't come and bite me?
Bro.
I kid you not. Anyways, Amelia, it's been great. It's been 2 hours.
Thanks for having
Did you
me.
think you could do 2 hours?
I didn't think I could do 5 minutes.
There you go. I told Sarah the same thing. Like once you get started, you just relax.
It blows by.
And that's it. And it literally just flies by. You'll be surprised as to how much you actually have got to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What everyone else says now.
What'd you say?
I said, let's see what they all say now I've said it.
Oh yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait for the feedback. It's no problem. Anyway, guys, Amelia's company is at the bottom of the page at the Jewellery Trap on Instagram. Is it across all social media platforms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not active on like Twitter really, but I think we've got it on everything. Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook get used mostly.
Wicked. Mostly, obviously, you as Amelia said, you'll see the rebrand at the www.thejewellerytrap.com across the bottom again. Rebrand, new branding name, color schemes, everything.
Any feedback from anyone would be really helpful.
Dope.
All the new stuff.
Dope. And as mentioned before, you got the new collection, the Zodiac collection, with your giveaway that's currently running on the page. We will repost that tomorrow, so everybody can check that out as well, and you can see how you enter and everything else. If you're buying on the standard, we've got the new levels 10 discount code. If you just apply that at checkout, gives you an extra 10% off everything. Obviously had to be done, mate. But yeah, thank you. It's been wicked. We'll definitely get you on. Hopefully we'll get you on towards the end of the year again, actually. Check back in, see the progress, see what's new, what's happened, etc. Pardon?
Hopefully some big updates.
No, definitely some big updates. Definitely. We're going to be positive here. Definitely some big updates.
I'll call you when I've got the big updates then.
Oh, don't worry. Call me when somebody slaps you with 100k.
Like, literally, that's a big rack. Hold that.
As always, guys, please like, share and sub to the channel. It just helps us grow and just increases the traffic going Amelia's way, because she does fantastic stuff, and as she grows, it'll just be a wonderful journey just to watch. Follow us on the IG at New Levels, where you get all the updates. I think tomorrow's trainer day. Got some big drops coming actually on trainer day, so keep it posted. We might start doing our trainer raffles again, some Jordan raffles again, so again, keep posted.
Size 6s, please.
5.5s in the Jordans. I think my pals got mostly.
The last
uh,
one that Layla got were 5.5, so I was gutted.
yo, those Celtic pickups, I swear to God, like when I gave them away, I was like, oh, did I really want to do that? Because they're the ones that she's got are very deep exclusives.
Yeah.
She got a really dope pair, but there's one or two more which are a bit more exclusive than that. So keep posted. You never know what you could pick up. I think there's 1 or 2 size 6s in there.
Well, I'll just chop
So we'll
off
see.
the toes or something.
Chop off your all right.
Half I have to.
I was gonna make a cruel joke actually. Just then I was gonna say maybe she'll become like one of the disabled models that we ain't seen.
Nah, that is wrong.
Yeah, and I just said that live. I'm not cutting it. I said it. I said it.
That.
I'm just saying my train of thought.
Obviously,
hey, guys,
people, it
allow
was
me.
a joke. It was a joke.
It's
a joke.
It's a joke.
I really
good.
my camera. This guys, I promise.
Amelia's definitely not cutting off her toes, by the way.
No. No.
But yeah, it's been sick, man. It's been
I know, it's been good.
It's been a sick 2 hours, man. I've loved it. Even though, like, I might have looked a bit out of it at the start. I did say I'd perk up. I'm alive, barely.
You are a busy man.
A little drink helps.
Yeah, I mean, I needed to halfway through just get hold of the glass, you know, and knock it back. It helps. It helps. A couple more then probably would have got me bouncing off the walls, but we're good.
Nah.
Next time.
Next time. What's it called? Next time. Anyway, Amelia, I will see you on the 27th on the shoot.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It'll be wicked. It'll be good to see you again. Yes, indeed. Oh, well, trust me. Hopefully, you'll get a nice content package coming your way.
Yeah.
From this shoot. Anyways, guys, it's been great. I accidentally said last week that it was going to be the American on this week, but it's actually going to be the American next week. So interesting conversations come essence way. That's one person you need to get at, actually. Essence. So check her out next week, Amelia.
This next week.
Pardon?
On here next week.
On here next week. She's from Philadelphia and just got mad attitude. Not attitude in a bad way, but she's got a presence. It'll be good. Anyways, guys, it's been wonderful. Got Dan Mason. Follow Dan Mason across the bottom. DJ Dan_Mason. Next week you'll be live on our chat on our Instagram live. We're meant to do that this week, but technical issues.
Every Sunday, guys, on
Every
EXT
Sunday.
Radio, my radio show. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna have actually get cases on man like Kofi.
What? I can't tell you the last time I DJ'd, guys.
So Kofi's taking over my radio show in a couple of weeks to just do a mazza. And we're going to talk obviously more about the Lev3ls brand and what goes on within Lev3ls. So
man.
Keep an eye out for that. We'll be throwing some flyers out and stuff on IG as well. So keep an eye out.
And giving you a big dose of new music from all the artists that we're trying to promote.
Sick.
Wicked. Anyways, guys, it's been lovely. And on that note, we shall be out of here.
Amazing.
Good night.
Peace out, big love.
Peace
Big
out,
love,
man.
everybody.
All right, guys. See you in a bit.
Yeah.
Peace.
Learn life. There's levels to the shit.